Hey, what's good, my fellow masters? With the release of the Heian-kyo main story chapter, I thought I would go through a little primer for it, highlighting some information that may be of interest. That said, let's start with the basics. As mentioned, Heian-kyo is part of the main story, considered to be chapter 5.5 of the Part 2 Cosmos and the Lost Belt story arc, chronologically taking place after the events of Lost Belt 5.2 Olympus. Thus, in order to access Heian-kyo, Olympus must first be cleared. But not to worry if you're still making your way through the story, Heian-kyo will be permanently available and will unlock once Olympus is cleared. It's not an event with a limited duration. There will be some references to the events that occurred in the Pseudo-Singularity 3 Shimousa, but it's not necessary to have cleared Shimousa. With that out of the way, here are some key things to keep in mind for Heian-kyo. There will be a number of NPC servants available throughout the story, which is nothing really new. But for Heian-kyo, the NPC versions of Kintoki, Raiko, Watanabe no Suna, Shuten Doji, and Ibaraki Doji will all have fixed buffs. Kintoki will have a permanent 8k max HP, plus an increase to the success rate of his stun effect from his NP. Raiko will gain 10 crit stars each turn and get an increase to her star generation. Suna charges his NP gauge by 20% each turn, along with a buff to his NP damage. Shuten will inflict a 5-turn poison debuff with her attacks, and when she lands a critical hit, a random debuff will be applied to the target. Ibaraki gets a 3x Guts effect, reviving with 1 HP, and when her Guts is activated, she gets a buff to her attack. All NPC servants will have a fixed CE that provides a 50% starting NP charge and a 50% increase to NP generation. Overall, these fixed buffs can be useful, especially when considering NPC servants tend to come with high NP levels. So if your roster is limited, keep this in mind if a particular battle is giving you trouble. Or if you just happen to like using quest-related servants, then this should certainly be of benefit. Now, when I looked through the quests, I didn't notice any instance of forced NPC support, save for one scripted solo battle. Although this is assuming there were no missing notes from the FGO fandom site, so it's possible I may have missed something. There are 15 sections or acts plus a finale, so not as many when compared to the previous Lost Belts like Olympus, which had 27 sections. Note that the ability to unlock Kintoki's new Spiritron dress will come when Section 2 has been cleared. Naturally, at the end you will be awarded one Holy Grail, and also a copy of a new 4-star CE called And Finally at Mount Oe, featuring Watanabe no Suna and Sakata Kintoki posing like Chads. This story lock CE will increase both Buster performance and critical attack chance resistance by 8 and 10% respectively. When you have fully cleared Heian-kyo, you will have gained 15 Saint Quartz from section clears, plus 59 fragments, around 8 SQ, from each quest arrow. Another 13 quartz can be gained from first clears of Heian-kyo's free quests, for a combined total of 36 SQ and some fragments. A note about the free quests: accessing them will be a little different from normal. Once you have finished the main quests of Heian-kyo and obtained the Grail, the free quests will be unlocked through the main interlude section, though there shouldn't be any other requirements other than clearing Heian-kyo. As for materials from clear rewards, you will gain 15 Rainbow Thread and 14 Flaming Oni Lantern plants. A bit more on these later. Of course, we have some brand new servants being released along with Heian-kyo. One that I believe many have been eagerly anticipating is the limited SSR alter ego Ashia Douman. He has a AoE quick NP that both deals curse damage to all enemies and increases the overall curse damage, plus a fairly high chance to instant kill them. The good news is that it has been confirmed the instant kill effect is applied after the NP damage, so it will not get in the way of NP refund. Aside from a slew of debuffs he can inflict, I think what's really interesting about Douman's kit is his ability to increase the attack and critical damage of allies with either the evil and or the chaotic alignment. So those that are both chaotic and evil will get a 40% buff to attack and a 100% buff to crit damage at max level, both for 3 turns. Crit servants like the recent Van Gogh or Jean Alter can really benefit from being teamed up with Asha Douman. Among alter egos with AoE MPs, he sits around the middle of the pack for overall MP damage, but since he also has an 80% NP battery at max level, combined with his good NP gain rate and his 5-hit NP, it has been noted Douman is an excellent quick looper with the appropriate CEs and supports. Overall, he brings so much to the table, in either the role of main attacker or even as a hybrid support unit, and is definitely worth considering adding to one's Chaldea. If you don't yet have an AoE alter ego, Asha Douman would be a great choice. But if the lack of SQ is an issue at this time, the good news is he has a couple of other raid-ups scheduled in the future. One during the 2023 summer event, and again during the 2024 summer event. Something to note about Asha Douman if you're rolling for him: his 3rd and 4th ascension will not be available until Heian-kyo is cleared. Once that requirement is met, Douman will have a Spirit Origin release quest unlock that can be located where you normally access interludes. However, it's not like a regular interlude quest, and will not count towards extra quests that involve interludes. Accompanying Douman on raid up is the SR Saber Watanabe no Suna. He is a single target Buster Saber with an anti-demonic and anti-Oni niche. His MP provides 2 effects, dealing 200% extra damage to enemies with the Oni trait, and an overcharge effect that moderately increases his damage against demonic trait enemies. The nice thing is both traits have a decent enough crossover that getting full use out of both effects shouldn't be that rare of an occurrence. Suna can also separately absorb crit stars to either his 2 Buster cards or his 2 Arts cards with appropriate effects, increase crit damage for his Buster cards, and increase NP gen rate for his Arts. Another notable ability of his is a 3-turn Ignore Evasion, which can definitely come in handy in some gimmicky battles. Now among single target sabers, his non-trait effect MP damage is on the lower end of the spectrum, but Suna should really shine against Oni enemies, let alone versus enemies with both demonic and Oni traits. Watanabe no Suna is a permanent servant and will be added to the general summoning pool once this Heian-kyo banner ends. So that should be kept in mind. If you really like him, then this is definitely the best time to roll for him. But if you're just looking to add a strong ST Saber, remember that the Christmas event in December will have the welfare unit Santa Carna, who is a single target Saber and one you can get at NP5. Though, if you're rolling for Douman anyways, then hopefully Suna will show up as well to help keep Douman in line. There is also an expected second banner to come in about a week featuring another brand new servant, the limited SSR Ibuki Doji. This AoE Buster Saber also has quite a few masters eagerly waiting for her, and for good reason. She looks to be a very potent unit. Her MP ignores both invincibility and defense, plus reduces their Buster resistance 20 to 40% depending on overcharge level, though this OC effect is applied after the MP damage. Ibuki can buff her attack, her Buster performance, her crit damage, gain a good amount of crit stars, seal an enemy's MP, and has a niche against undead enemies. Oh, and I can't forget her 50% NP battery. So for those wondering, Ibuki Doji can work well within the Koyan system for 3-turn Buster looping. In terms of general NP damage among AoE sabers, Ibuki is top 5 at NP1 and jumps to 2nd at NP2, and this is not counting any trait effect bonuses. Artoria still does significantly more NP damage at all NP levels, but Ibuki doesn't need to worry about any evade, invincibility, or defense, which is a pretty big advantage. If you're in need of a very strong AoE saber, then Ibuki Doji is undoubtedly a servant worth considering. Though between her and Muramasa, who is also a very strong AoE saber with a 50% battery, it will mainly come down to who you like more, and the supports you have or are planning to have. One key thing about Muramasa is, to date, he has only had one known rate up, which is when he's released. Whereas with Ibuki, she has 2 other known future banners. One expected during our 21 million downloads campaign, and another during our 23 million downloads campaign. So, something to keep in mind if you're on the fence between Ibuki and Muramasa. For those that are rolling for either Ashiya Douman, Watanabe no Suna, or Ibuki Doji, or all three, 2 brand new materials will be needed for their ascension or skills: Rainbow Thread and Flaming Oni Lantern Plants. Well, these materials are not exactly brand new to NA since they have cropped up here and there due to the early release of the append system. However, with Heian-kyo, we will now have a permanent place where these 2 materials can be farmed. I'll come back to the farming locations a little later. So, Ashiya Douman will need a total of 15 Rainbow Thread and 27 Oni Lanterns for his skills. Watanabe no Suna will need 60 Rainbow Thread for his skills, and 24 Oni Lanterns for his 3 appends. Ibuki Doji will need 5 Oni Lanterns for her ascension, and 30 more for her skills. Going through the Heian-kyo quests, from clear rewards, a combined 15 Rainbow Thread and 14 Oni Lanterns can be obtained. And regarding events in the relatively near future, Little Big Tengu in January will provide up to 15 Oni Lanterns, and the Valentine's event in February will provide 25 Rainbow Thread and 10 Oni Lanterns. For farming spots, the best place to obtain Rainbow Thread is the Heian-kyo free quest Gojo Bridge with a 45.9 APD or 45.8% drop rate. The best spot for Oni Lanterns is the Heian-kyo free quest Jo 3 Bow 3. Note that this free quest will not appear until the free quest Mount Oe has been cleared. Oni Lanterns have been noted to have a 156.7 APD or 13.4% chance to drop. Fortunately, Rainbow Thread also drops here with a 71.5 APD or 29.4% chance to drop. So, depending on your overall needs, farming Jo 3 Bow 3 may provide the best of both worlds of Oni Lanterns and Rainbow Thread. Other upcoming servants in the near future that will need either of these materials are Muramasa, who will require 30 Oni Lanterns for his skills. Taira no Kagekyo needs 10 Oni Lanterns for her ascension and 45 more for her appends. And then there is Amor Karen, who will need 45 Rainbow Threads for her skills. Well, that's mostly everything I wanted to cover with this sort of primer. Originally, I wanted to maybe go over some of the more difficult battles, but unfortunately, I had to scale things back due to the time I had available. So I'm sorry if you were hoping for something like that. I'll try to include that in the future, which I suppose will be for Lost Belt 6. At any rate, I hope some of this info was helpful. Please hit that like button if it was, or if you simply enjoyed it. It's something I would really appreciate. Next up will be my Ashiya Douman rolls. So to my fellow masters that are rolling for him or for Suna, I wish you all the best. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, cheers all.